Good there. Welcome to episode 47. Today, Leanne and I are going to be talking about capacity in relationships. Hi, I'm Greg.
And I'm Leanne. Welcome to the Empowered Poly Podcast,
where we give you the tools to help you feel more empowered
in your polyamorous and consensually non-monogamous relationships,
sharing what we've learned as relationship coaches and as individuals.
Empowered Poly is LGBTQ plus, alternative lifestyle, and kink friendly.
Thank you for joining us
and enjoy the show. Quickie love bites.
So, what do we mean by capacity in a relationship? Well, these three things: time, energy, and resources. Because all of these things are finite, meaning they run out, right? You don't have all the time in the world.
You
Right?
don't?
No, much to my chagrin. We have to be able to be aware of what we have to offer in these areas in terms of what we offer in our relationships. There's often that saying, like, love is infinite, but time is not.
Yeah.
So this applies to every relationship. Doesn't matter whether it's, platonic, familial, romantic, makes no difference. Professional, right? All of these things that we're going to talk about today apply to all different types of relationships. One of the things that I've experienced is that we often overpromise, overcommit, or overextend ourselves, especially in poly and non-monogamous relationship dynamics, right? And then we wonder why the fuck we're exhausted all the
time. I know I do.
Yeah.
Why the hell
I
am I
wonder that
exhausted
too.
all the time? Yeah, absolutely. And capacity is one of those things that I don't think we talk about enough. It's one of those parameters that's sort of secret and hidden and not discussed. And how we discover it is when we bump up against our limits and then we're like, oh, I actually don't have capacity for this.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
We often think that we're capable of a lot more. That's not always true. Some people underestimate their capacity and then they end up with extra time or extra resources or, extra energy. Good for them. I don't know anybody like that. I'm not like
Yeah.
that. But if you do, and that's your story, maybe this isn't the episode for you. Just keep going.
Yeah. Right. Right. I have a question though, actually. Something just came up. It's
Okay.
not on the agenda, but I want to ask anyway.
Yeah.
Do you think boredom plays a role in that?
Yes.
Like like
The
if you're
overextending.
well, yes, and underextending.
Tell me more.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think about boredom and I think about the fact that oftentimes we're bored and we think we have nothing to do
Mm.
or nothing that we can do, right? And boredom sometimes is a paralyzing response to external triggers or external activation, right? So you shut down and you just get bored. You don't do anything. You just kind of sit there and, doom scroll on your phone or watch YouTube videos for hours on end, right? Um, I'm just wondering if that is a function of overcapacity or undercapacity. Like
I
maybe
think it totally could be either one of those.
I'm not doing enough because I'm frozen in what I need to do. I don't know what to do next, or I'm afraid to do something next.
See, that's different to me. There's a freeze response, and then there's like true boredom where it's like, I don't really know what I want to do, right? Um, which to me feels more relaxed in that state. Whereas a freeze response is that I'm in that hypoarousal or that hyperarousal state. I'm outside my window of tolerance, either direction. I'm
Mhm.
overwhelmed. So I'm going to shut down and then shut out whatever is going on around me.
Right, right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool.
Should we do intimate insights?
Yeah.
Intimate insights.
So in this portion, we're going to talk about the things that we learned about this topic. And one of the things that I learned is that capacity isn't static. And what I mean by that is it can morph and change over time. It can morph and change from day to day. It can morph and change within a day. And that can impact things like promises that you've made to others and or yourself about whether you're going to follow through with something. And I have had to learn how to honor my capacity, because if I'm not doing that, I'm going to go into a state of overwhelm, right? So things that can affect that would be things like illness or aging, changes in job or changes at your job, um, different stages of parenting children or taking care of elderly parents or pets, and their health and wellness, and then the environment around you. So your local environment, your broader environment like your city, province, or state, and then national, and then global. Those all impact how you feel at any given moment, and those impacts can change your capacity. So that was a big, steep learning curve. Yeah.
I just wanted to add something too about
Yeah.
that is that diet plays a role.
Mm.
Diet, not just
Sleep
your
and sleep.
diet, sleep. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Your sleeping habits, diet, but not just the diet in terms of the food that you eat, but also the diet of the things that you ingest on a daily basis. What kind of news are you watching? What kind of music are you listening to? You know, those
What
kinds
kind
of
of
things as
shows
well.
are you watching?
Yeah, what kind of shows are you watching? Right, all
Mhm.
of those things. That diet of input is also a direct has a direct impact on your capacity as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At least that's what I
That's what you learned?
learned.
Good. Good for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I also learned that often my desires will overreach what my capacity is. And that can be
Yeah,
in all areas of life. My
right. Your
desire
eyes.
to be involved in a hobby, you know,
Yeah,
I'm in the middle of writing a book. I've been in the middle of writing a book for years.
yeah, yeah.
And I've been in the middle of writing several books for years and several
Hmm.
plays for years. So my desire to to do those things kind of overreaches my capacity to do them often,
I remember growing up, my dad specifically used to say his eyes were bigger than his stomach,
right?
right? My desire for something is bigger than my capacity to actually handle it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. And that goes for relationships too. So, one of the things that I've written about on my Polyphoria blog, which you can see on my website, which I will put up here now, is the difference between the difference between collectors and investors in relationships. Um, and in the article, I go into like the differences, like people who collect don't invest very well. They just continue to add people to their life. And people who invest carefully, mindfully. But then there's also, I realized, another category of investment, which is over investing, like just continually throwing your time, energy, and resources into a relationship where there is maybe no, uh, what do you call it when an investment gives you something back? Return,
Return.
right? Yeah.
ROI, baby. ROI.
Not that it has to be transactional. Some relationships are like that. You know, you understand that maybe the capacity of the person that you're giving your time, energy, and resources to is low for whatever reason, and you accept that and you're okay with that.
Hmm.
You don't expect anything in return. Totally
Hmm.
fine. But most of us want some kind of reciprocation in our relationships. We want some sort of like back and forth.
Hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be equal, but it has to be, you know, from each according to their abilities, as
Right.
Mars would say.
Right. Exactly. Are there over collectors?
Oh yeah. I think that was the point of the collector category, was that they would be collecting people in a way that they were not capable of investing in those relationships
Hmm.
to any meaningful degree for that other person. Like you can collect, like I have tons of friends that I never see, right? Shout out to all my friends who I never see. Love you, miss you, mean it. And When we get together, it's kind of like we picked up where we left off, and they don't have any expectation of seeing me more than once or twice a year because they recognize that my life is like that. I haven't been able to prioritize in such a way that those friendships are getting a lot of attention.
Mhm.
And maybe they don't need a lot of attention. That's the other piece. When you're assessing capacity, also, maybe think about what needs are in play too. So,
Mhm.
and then the last thing I wanted to share about what I learned is that I needed to learn about boundaries.
Ooh, boundaries.
Boundaries. Didn't know
Dun dun
about
dun
those.
dun.
I didn't grow
Yeah.
up with boundaries. I didn't know what they were. In fact, they were considered rude, selfish, unhelpful. What do you mean you can't, won't? You know,
Hmm. What do you mean you're not going to bend over backwards for me?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Right.
came from a very enmeshed, codependent family, and they kind of liked it that way. They kind of liked that collective, I don't know, enmeshment, I guess. So we're all entitled to each other's time, energy, and resources. And
Hmm.
learning boundaries was really tough and really hard and took me a long time. And I started a long time ago, and I'm still learning about them 30 years
Hmm.
later.
In understanding your capacity, you came to understand that boundaries are important as a way to sort of help with that.
To help with the overpromising, the overgiving, the overcommitting, right?
Right. Exactly.
And they're boundaries for me, really. They're put in
Hmm.
place with others primarily, but sometimes they're also just for me,
Yeah.
right? Like I can commit to going to the gym 3 times a week, but not five. Five is
Hmm.
beyond my capacity, and I'll be disappointed in myself if I don't meet my
So,
goal,
right.
right? That
Right.
kind of a thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Which actually kind of segues nicely into what I learned.
Tell me
Um,
more.
tell you more. The power of saying no has
Oh,
been massive to me. So what I mean by there's actually several different components to this, but the one that comes to mind first is the idea that if somebody that you're with has the power to say no or has the ability to say no
mm-hmm,
to you when it comes to something that you're asking or requesting of them,
mm-hmm,
then you can inherently trust when they say yes more,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
And to me, that's about capacity. So that person is honoring their own capacity. That person is honoring their own ability to be able to recognize, I don't have capacity for this, or I'm just not interested in this, and I don't want to stretch myself too thin by going to it or being a part of it with you, because that
yeah,
might burn my social battery out quicker, kind of thing, right? And so I learned to do that too by saying, you know what? No, I'm not really interested in doing this. I know it's really important to you. It's just not something that I'm interested in, and I'm unable to support you in that because of it.
I can also support with like other ways, right? I don't have to
Right.
necessarily participate.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So the power of saying no implies that when if you have the power to say no, then that implies that when you're saying yes, you are actually a yes. There's far less question in that. Like, are you
Mm-hmm,
really a yes here? Well, yeah, you are because you say no, because you've shown me, you've proven to me that you can advocate for yourself. And
right.
in return, I have learned to pick that up and trust that in myself, that I'm doing myself and my partners and the people in my life a favor by saying, no, I don't want to attend that particular event because I'm just at capacity. I can't deal with it. Right. And so when
Mm-hmm.
I am there, they know I'm there fully.
Or at least as fully as you can.
Right. The other thing that I recognized, you've already talked about boundaries, so I'm not going to reiterate that. But the other thing that I've recognized or come to learn is how to prioritize and compartmentalize in a healthy way.
Mm,
Right.
yeah.
So prioritizing, right? That means, A has more of a priority than B does, right? Or B has more of a priority than A does, right? Depending upon your list, right? But also compartmentalizing is helpful in that as well. And what I mean by compartmentalizing is a healthy form of compartmentalizing, right? I've got a friend who's dealing with something really tragic and difficult right now. I am unable to be there to support them because I still have a life that I need to focus on and deal with and manage and navigate through, right? But I'm still
Hmm.
struggling or managing my emotions around my friends' sadnesses and pain and hurt, right? But I have to
Yeah.
put that into a compartment, a box, if you will, and put it into the back of my mind so that I can focus on what I need to get done, that the things that are in front of me, right? So to me, compartmentalizing is actually really important. And it's been
Yeah.
really helpful in learning how to set boundaries, how to advocate for myself, and how to not go over capacity.
So much negative press about compartmentalizing.
Well, I think it can be unhealthy. I mean, it can be. You can
Hmm.
compartmentalize to the point to where nothing is integrated, right?
So
Like
you're leading a double life, essentially.
you date leading a double life, or
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we don't want to get into big details about it, but yeah, I mean, it can be an unhealthy adaptive strategy, maladaptive strategy, I guess. So, yeah, for sure.
Well, and I just want to say if you want to learn more about boundaries, we have a
Mhm.
podcast on boundaries called All About Boundaries. So check it out.
Mhm.
It's episode 39, I think.
And you can
Yeah.
also reach out directly to us, and we can do one-on-one coaching and help you out discover your own boundaries and what matters to you and why and all that other happy horseshit.
Hey, if you like our stuff, don't forget to do all the things.
Such as like, share, subscribe, and drop us a comment.
So, what I learned about time, energy, and resources is that, you know, we have also an obligation to ourselves to give ourselves those things.
Mm-hmm.
So, often we're talking about time, energy, and resources when providing for others, but we also need to provide a structure and a relationship with ourselves, those time, energy, and resource pieces. And a lot of people miss that. They put that at the back of the priority list, right? The very last. So, another perception around that is that it's selfish to just spend time with yourself or to spend money on yourself or to, use resources just for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's, I mean, it's a bit of like that unfortunate codependent programming that a lot of us received early on in our lives about that. Yeah. So that was the one I wanted to talk about. Do you want to talk about the energy?
Yeah, sure. So, what do we mean by energy? Well, I mean, for me, energy means like the energy that you have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
That's one form of energy. Another form of energy is your social battery, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much mental and emotional energy is it going to take for you to be involved in something with other people or by yourself or whatever, right? So those are that's the kind of energy I think we're referring to here.
I mean, the spoon theory is a great way to explain that,
Yeah. You want
right?
to
The
explain
spoon
it?
theory is a mental health sort of analogy. That means, you wake up every day with a different number of spoons that you can spend throughout the day, and each activity takes a certain number of spoons. I think they used spoons because this took place in a cafeteria, the lady who was explaining this idea. And she just picked up a bunch
Mhm.
of spoons and said, so say I start the day with 10 spoons. It takes 2 spoons to get dressed, 1 spoon to feed myself, 2 spoons to get to work, all the rest of my spoons to do my job. And then I come home and I have no spoons left. So I'm drained of energy. I can't make myself dinner. I can't enjoy an
Mhm.
evening out. I can't talk to my friends, my family. I'm done, right?
Mhm.
And that's a great sort of pacing strategy that people are taught too about how to do
Mhm.
that, right?
Right. So how that plays out in terms of energy, like energy and resources and all that is, you know, what energy do I have for other people in my world, right? Dates, get-togethers, sleeping, help, not sleeping, sleep. I don't know, sleeping with others. I guess
Sex.
that's sex. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Dates, get-togethers, helping my kids, helping my elders, that kind of thing. Energy to meet my responsibilities, right? To be able to get to work. Well, really, I just have to stand up to get to work, but you know what I mean. Like, yeah,
Your privilege
for
is
those
showing, Greg.
my privilege is showing. Yeah, let me just button that back up again. My bad. Most of the people that listen to us and watch us are probably, working a regular job or of some sort, 9 to 5 job, right? And so there's energy and resources or energy that goes into that. Getting there, doing the work, getting home, especially if you have a commute that sucks, that kind of
Mhm,
stuff. Taking care of dependents, running errands. Running errands can zap your energy as well,
mhm.
and energy to invest in yourself, right? In myself, right? Working out. I love to work out. Cleaning the house. I like cleaning the house because I like a an orderly and nice environment, an organized environment. And then hobbies and activities, things that we enjoy doing, right? That takes energy to do, right? And even though that oftentimes will be something that gives you more energy, it still takes energy, requires energy to start it, to begin
Mhm.
doing it.
Yeah, good point. Well, and that actually just what you just touched on is that introvert extrovert battery thing too, in that extroverts who go out will feel more replenished than introverts who go out. And ambiverts can have a mixed experience. People like
Right.
myself who are kind of in the middle of that.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
much an introvert, so going out requires me to be in a deficit in energy wise
Yeah.
afterwards, and then I have to recharge through other means and
Yeah.
that are usually pretty solitary in nature. Tell me about what other resources.
Okay, so you've got your financial resources,
Yep.
emotional resources, and material resources. So the finances are the money. So when we're talking about money, when we're talking about, okay, I have, this amount of money coming in every month, let's put it into the polyamorous realm. I want to spend this money on dates. I want to go out and have a good time. Do I
Mhm.
have that? Is that available to me? And if it isn't, where is it going to come from? If that resource is limited, then where's it going to come from? Is it going to come
Mhm.
from your own personal hobbies? Are you going to stop spending there so that you can spend on dates? Is it going to come from buying lower quality food or not eating out as much? Cut out the eating out so that you can have a few dates, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. Budgeting. And
Right.
then
Or is it going to come from starting an OnlyFans?
you do you. And emotional resources, that's sort of capacity for holding space for people, for making sure that you're present. What you were just talking about, wanting to be present, right? But recognizing that sometimes your energy level just isn't going to match what you need to be present. Emotional resources can also be things like your support system. Are you getting enough of that in order to give emotionally to other people? And then the material is more about the like things that you already have that you're not spending money to, well, I guess it could be related to financial. So, for example, um, if you're talking about the gas it takes to go on a trip with a loved one, your home as a resource, right? Like in the poly world, there's often uh, difficulty kind of coming together on that. Can we have dates in our house? That's a way of saving money. So it reduces that financial resource pinch. But is it something that we're comfortable with, both of us? And if
Okay, so
not,
it
how do we
becomes a
solve that?
material. It becomes a material resource issue and an emotional resource issue.
And a financial one.
And a financial. Another material resource issue could be like the wear and tear on your car,
Yeah,
right?
right?
You know, right?
Especially with long distance relationships and you're driving a lot to go see them, for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
There were some other material ones that I had in mind, but I can't think of them right now.
Mhm.
I didn't
That's all
write
right.
them down. But I
That's all
mean,
right.
just even thinking about like um, wanting to make sure that you've got things in place at home, but if you're spending time at another location
Mhm.
for long periods or regularly, like with
What do you
another
need to bring with
partner,
you?
What do you bring with you? What do you leave there? Can you double up on those things? Are you going to take something from your house to make your life more comfortable over there? And
And at
all those
what point do you
considerations.
make that determination? Right? Like, at what point do you say, okay, I probably should double up on some, like my toothbrush, for instance, like, at
Mhm.
what point do you have that conversation? Because that's again, that's an emotional resource, right?
Is
You're
it
using
emotional
an
or material? I think it's more material.
well, the conversation itself is an emotional conversation. Can be anyway for
Right.
some people, right? You want to what? You want to put a toothbrush in my place? What do you mean? Like, what are you doing? Moving in? Like, like
Right.
it could be an emotional conversation for some people.
So make sure that you have the emotional resources to have that conversation and the energy for any kind of subsequent conversations that'll come out of it or any reactions that might come up.
Yeah, I mean, in your head, you might be thinking, "What? It's just a fucking toothbrush. Who cares?" Right? But in their head, they're like, "Oh my God, toothbrush. Oh
He's
wow,
moving
this
in.
is like he's moving. Yeah, he's moving in, right?" So
Or on on the flip side, if you have a nesting partner, he's moving out.
yeah, exactly,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's actually another resource too to talk about is information. What are you sharing
Mm.
with other people, especially in the poly world, right? What are they open to hearing? What are you open to sharing? What do you have consent to share? What do all of those things are things to consider as well. I don't know if that's necessarily a resource.
I would think of it as more what resources are you accessing in order to help yourself be
Oh
a
yeah,
good
that's good.
partner?
Yeah.
Things like
That's
podcasts. I don't know, just spitballing here.
good. Spitballing here. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Oh, I think you got some on you there. Wait.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. All right.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Do yeah, yeah, we should move on to the deep dive.
The deep dive. So now we're going to talk about how we learned these things that we just mentioned and share a little bit more about our experiences, maybe some client experiences, that kind of thing. So for me, coming from that, as I said, enmeshed codependent family, I was a people pleaser from a very young age. And it became really apparent to me that other people's needs mattered a lot more than my own. Not always, to be fair to my family, but there was a lot of that programming that happened. That's what I took away from it, even while my parents were driving me to my lessons and things like that. There were other factors that influenced my limiting belief around that. Somewhere in my 40s, I decided, maybe actually a little bit earlier, I decided I was going to start working on boundary honoring. I knew about boundaries prior to that, but I wasn't good at honoring them. I would say a boundary, and if somebody came along and was like, yeah, that's fine, phew, I didn't have to do any work. But it was more challenging when they didn't do that, when it was hard on them to accept a boundary, when they found it insulting or rude or problematic in any way. I would just backpedal and say, no, no, it's fine, it's fine, you know, whatever you need. But what that did ultimately is it kind of created the environment for resentment, which impacted the relationship anyway negatively. And so I started to figure out that I need to do the work of the honoring of my own boundaries, even if someone's uncomfortable, even if they're mad at me, even if they don't like it. And that was really, really hard. I had been overpromising and overcommitting and overgiving as a way of life. That was sort of uh my modus operandi. I was a
Hmm.
teacher, I was in service as a government employee, but also to my kids, to their parents, to my administration. I felt very low on the totem pole in terms of my needs being met. And I live in Alberta, and right now there's a teacher strike, and they should be on strike because this has been getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I'm just grateful I'm not teaching right now,
Hmm.
but I feel for them. I do. And teachers are notoriously at the bottom of the pay scale because they are usually people who are driven by that service, right? as a, what do you call it, value and a
It's a
hmm,
primary motivator to do the work.
motivator. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a motivator for them to do the work,
right. And so
which
when
is
you're talking to thousands of people who are service oriented, a lot of them are going to have difficulty saying no.
right.
So when they do, it's going to be a big deal.
Hmm.
And it is a big deal. And it is problematic when people say no to you.
Yeah.
Like it just is. It doesn't feel good all the time. And it's also on the flip side is learning how to accept no and receive it
Hmm.
and be okay with it and not
Hmm.
guilt, shame, blame, or manipulate or passively aggressive, try to get that person to do the thing you want them to do.
Right. Or have
Right.
an expectation that they owe you something, like an explanation.
Right. Yeah. No is a
Sometimes,
complete sentence, right?
yeah, sometimes no is all you're going to get. No, can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that has to do with capacity too, because maybe the person who's saying no doesn't have the capacity for the explanation that they think you're going to want.
Mhm.
Maybe it feels private to them. Maybe it feels like too much to retell the story, to relive the experience of why they have to say no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of mine is wrapped up in that.
Yeah.
I don't want to retell or relive the reason that I can't do something. I just want to be able to say, no, I can't make that happen. Sorry. You
And
know?
why? Because it helps you stay regulated, right? Like you don't,
Yep.
if you have to go back into the story, sometimes you can't stay within your window of tolerance, right? Where you're
Mhm.
regulated.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then what happened also in my life is that I broke my back in 2009, and then I had two car accidents that were severe in 2018 and 2020, all of which um, pretty much leveled me to the point where I had to ask for help. And that was challenging because sometimes people didn't have capacity to help, or they did one day, but not the other day. And then for myself, recognizing that I had to listen to my body, use up only the number of spoons I had that day, and not try and push past that, and really pace myself, which required a lot of planning, which requires a lot of energy.
Hmm.
It's like this circle, right? Like you're using energy to do the planning, to do the pacing so that you can do more with your time, energy, and resources.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
takes
It's
energy.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
time and resources.
It takes all the above. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Where does it end?
it
Yeah.
never ends. It's never ending. It's a
Like
loop.
a snake eating itself.
God. Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then an example from a client story is I have a or had a client who had a very large family, one income, an elder living with them that they were taking care of, and the spouse started to date. So time, energy, and resources that had been devoted to helping at home were now being used for dating. And they didn't do it well. There was not discussion around that. There were no agreements around that. It was just a matter of, I'm starting to date now. Here I go. I'm dating.
Hmm.
So in our work together, we went through all the things that we just talked about, right? And really tried to nail down agreements around what that looks like and what that budget could be and what the budgeting of the time could be and
Hmm.
where they can show up at home and
Right.
still date.
Right.
Because you're being pulled in all these different directions when you have multiple partners and
Hmm.
kids and a job and pets and elders. Like,
God, makes you
everybody
just want to
feels
give
that
up.
way. Hey,
Makes you just want to give up. I'm gonna go
just go
back to
back to
bed.
bed.
Right? Just go back to bed. Fuck it.
Night
Just gonna go
night.
back to bed. Which is actually that leads me into to what I learned,
Okay.
or how I learned it, right? Is because I just kept hitting the fucking wall all the time.
What does that mean?
Well, that means I
Like
just like
like hitting
yeah,
it?
Well, no, like I didn't see it, and so I just kept smacking myself into it because I didn't recognize that I was actually over capacity, that I was actually overcommitting, myself to these things because in my head, the way I was programmed, if you will, is
Hmm.
that it was like in order for me to have value to people, I had to have it was very transactional, right?
Hmm.
I had to be able to do something for them or give them something in return for them wanting to spend time with me. And so that made me feel
Yeah.
that brought up feelings of constantly being capacity,
Under-resourced.
under resourced, right?
Yeah,
Under resourced and
overcapacity.
over capacity. And so I would always think to myself, what can I do for this person so that they'll stay liking me? What can I do for this person so that they'll continue to love me? And all
Hmm.
of that other stuff, right? Because I didn't think that just me existing in the world was enough, right?
Mm.
Because that's not the way it worked for me when I was young, right? I was constantly trying to get people's attention, right? And so it was challenging for me. And one of the ways that I learned this was through a mental breakdown.
Hmm.
Right? I had a full on, complete mental breakdown, the details of which aren't important, but suffice it to say that it was an incredible eye opener. I ended up putting myself in the hospital, um, and I learned a lot, and I was also reminded of a lot. And one of the things that I was reminded of was something called DBT or dialectical behavior therapy. And I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but it's the concept that you can hold two things that are seemingly opposing, you can
Hmm.
actually hold those two things to be true at the same time, right? So using the example I used earlier in this episode of you have a friend who's really struggling with something, they're in pain, they're going through a really difficult or hard time right now,
Yeah.
right? And that's hurtful to you because you don't want to see that person struggling, right? So you're
Right.
having your own emotional experience with that. That's not good. That's sad and hurtful. And then you've got this other thing in your life too that's going fantastically. Right, you're excited about it. It's something that you love and it's something that you cherish and you want to nurture and you want to explore and you want to get excited about, right?
Hmm.
And oftentimes it's like, oh shit, I'm being a fucking horrible friend to this person because I'm excited about this, right?
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
reality is that you can be both,
Yeah.
right? And that's where the compartmentalizing and the prioritizing comes into play, right? I have to put away my excitement for something while I support my friend,
Yes.
or I have to put away my sadness for my friend while I go and explore my excitement for this thing,
Right.
right?
Which is a very useful concept when it comes to managing relationships,
Oh my God, so
right?
useful. So useful. Right.
Romantic,
It's like,
intimate relationships in polyamory or
right.
or you know, intimate relationships in non-monogamy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the simplest ways as it relates to capacity is that I always thought that I had to have an answer for everything. I
Hmm.
always thought that if I didn't want to do something, I had to have a reason for not wanting to do it. And
Hmm.
so it could be true that I have a reason, and it could also be true that I don't want to share that reason,
Yeah.
right? So it could be true on the one hand that I feel compelled or like I need to share it because I'm going to panic if I don't, because I want this person to like me and understand me. And it can also be true that I am not capable of doing that. I don't have the capacity for that. So what do I honor in this situation? Well, I kept hitting the fucking wall because I wasn't paying attention to the fact that I didn't have capacity for it.
Right, right, right.
Right. And so I was trying to over explain myself. I was trying to overcompensate. Right. And so that was a
Yes.
really, really difficult process for me to learn to reel back in. I don't need to explain my shit all the time. I don't need to. And the
Hmm.
people that love and care about me will believe that I'm doing the best thing for myself in not doing that sometimes. Right. And not
Absolutely.
opening myself up to those kinds of conversations when I just can't do it. Because frankly, if I try, then it just explodes. It becomes something completely different and unmanageable and dysregulated and ain't nobody having no fun in that. Right. Right.
Right. Yeah. And it's also a gift to them, right? When you show up for yourself.
Yeah, because you're not exploding all over.
Or
So I don't have
shutting
to.
down, or just zoning out, not being present.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and in fact, I even go so far as to thank my partners and people in my life for advocating for themselves, even if it's hurtful to me.
Yes, I know you
You
do, and
know.
I really appreciate that because when you say thank you for giving yourself what you need, that gives me permission to do it again, right?
Right.
And it,
Right.
it relaxes my nervous system. I don't feel so on guard about saying no.
Yeah.
Um, can be really challenging for lots
Yep.
of us. Yeah.
Yep. And then there's the other part to this too, in terms of how I learned this was I learned that there's a difference between doing something out of obligation and doing something out of desire, right?
Hmm.
And I think oftentimes I wouldn't recognize that I was over capacity. I wouldn't recognize rather that doing something from a place of obligation meant that I was over capacity
Mm.
because I
Okay.
was doing it not because I was genuinely wanting to do it. I was doing it because if I was thinking to myself, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose something.
Mm. That back
Right.
to that transactional piece.
Yep, exactly. So I was
Well,
over capacity
yeah.
because I was feeling obligated to do it. Right. Now, I'm not talking about everything here, right? Because there are certain things that we are obligated to do, right? We're obligated to pay our taxes. We're obligated to pay our light bill,
Yeah.
right? Those kinds of things. But those are also parts of, and this is a whole other podcast episode too about personal responsibility, right? So,
Yes.
right. So the reality is that all of that plays a role in your capacity, right? And so if you recognize that some of that obligation is starting to seep into your personal relationships, for me, I had to take a step back and be like, wait a minute here. I don't always, and the reason it came up is because I don't always have the capacity to say thank you for advocating for yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if I ever feel like I'm obligated to say that, it then loses its meaning. And I've
Right.
now become over capacity because now I'm not doing it from a place of genuine care. I'm doing it from a place of protection and fear,
Which
which in my head
leads
is
to resentment.
right, exactly, which means that I am emotionally over capacity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I mean, that's part of our job too, is to unlearn the programming that teaches us that when somebody's happy with what we do, that doesn't mean that we are now obligated to continue to do that all the time.
right.
Um, I mean, sex is a prime example, right?
I was just going to say, I like that thing you do, right? And then now
Yeah.
you want to do that thing that you did all the time,
Yeah.
even if you don't want to do that thing that you did, you
Right.
know?
Right. Right. Yeah, and just even having sex is one of those points of difficulty. Often they talk about, the big problems in relationships, the difficult conversations are often around money, family, and sex because they're the heavy hitters. They're the ones that people take most personally or take as a reflection on them, right? So if someone says, "I really like that thing that you did sexually," and then you're like, "Uh, okay, now I got to do that all the time." You're telling yourself a story, and that's our job to do the work of unraveling those stories so that we're not attaching to them, right? And going down a negative narrative that's all about obligation, right? You can say, "Great, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'll tuck that in the toolkit and we'll pull it out every now and then when I feel like it." You know what I mean? Like don't be putting yourself in a situation where it's like, "Oh, now I got to do the thing," you know? You're bringing a different energy into the relationship then. And
Totally. Yeah.
that's not going to be healthy for anybody, and they're going to probably pick up on that.
Right. You're not fully present in the moment.
Yeah.
You go, as far as sex goes, you're going into a performance state as
Oh
opposed to
God,
a presence and pleasure based state.
been there.
Whereas what's the moment offering me as opposed to how do I get to orgasm?
Or how do I do my dog and pony show that you like so much?
Exactly. Exactly.
There are no dogs. There are
And
no
there's no
ponies.
ponies.
I just want to
No.
make that clear.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. You
just
got to
a
go to Mexico
phrase.
for that shit. Yep. Yep.
Whoa, oh, we don't talk about that.
No. What happens in Mexico stays in Mexico.
Stop. Such an asshole. You're making us look a lot weirder than we are.
I don't need to make anything. No, that's just there. If people don't know that by now,
Oh
then
God.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that covers it. Hey,
We did great. I
we
think we came
did.
in under an hour.
Whoa.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
We did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
High
Yeah.
five.
You want to high five? You want to do the wrap up?
Yes.
Hmm.
So, just a reminder to everybody to please share this podcast, this video, or the audio with somebody that you know that you think could benefit from it and let them know about us. And remember,
Choose love.
and keep it kind.
We'd love to hear your comments, questions, or topic suggestions. Don't forget to subscribe.
And you're invited to join our Facebook group, Empowered Poly Relationship Support.
You can reach out to us on our websites, gregmillion.com
LeanneMillion.com,
and empoweredpoly.ca,
where you can check out our courses
and find more information.
and follow us on our socials.
Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Yeah, nobody's going to listen to this anyway.
Why did we even bother?
Right? Peace out, bitches.
That was good, hey?
That was good. That was pretty. I think that was the most succinct one that we've ever done.
Succinct.
Succinct.
Succinct. Suck. There's a
Succinct.
suck in there first.
Succinct. I've
There's a
always said
suck
it
before the
succinct.
sink.
You might suck before the sink, but I'm not doing it. Okay. Love you.
Love
I gotta stand up. I
you.
gotta stand up. So love
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Love you. Bye.